In this video, I'm going to go through the email automation strategy that's generated one of our clients over $2 million so far in 2025. Now, we've analyzed over 200 7- and 8-figure D2C brands across fashion, beauty, wellness, and a bunch of other sectors, and found most of them are making the exact same mistakes with their flows. One beauty brand was dealing with open rates in the 7 to 12% range before we started working with them. Now, not only were their emails not driving the revenue that they wanted, but they were pissing their customers off. Their repeat purchasers were at an all-time low, and their customer retention was hurting because of it. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Derek, and I'm the founder at Ascend Media, where we help 7- and 8-figure D2C brands generate more revenue and more profit with email marketing and retention strategies. So let's dive in. Most brands pour all of their resources into weekly newsletters while completely neglecting automated systems that will consistently drive revenue without having to do ongoing work. Or they just rely on flows that were set up by some random agency or some random freelancer 2 years ago. What we're going to run through today is 6 essential flows that every D2C brand needs. Now, a lot of brands have this, but they get them completely wrong, and most agencies also actually get them completely wrong. And then what I'm going to show you is how to make them even better. Okay, so the first flow you're going to want to focus on is the welcome series. Now, most brands get this wrong. You probably have it, but it's probably not set up in an optimal way. This should be your highest converting flow by far. It's either going to be this or it's going to be the abandoned checkout sequence. Now, what we want to do here is make sure that people have a great first impression of your brand, because that's what matters here. This is your first impression with a customer when they're joining your list. So here's how I would structure it, and here's some benchmarks to shoot for. Basically, the benchmarks you want to shoot for is 50 to 60% open rates off of the first email. That should be kind of like a baseline minimum. If you're at 30%, not great. Something needs to be fixed. You're probably having a deliverability issue. If you're at 40%, same kind of deal. It might be okay, but like still, we should be shooting for that 50 to 60%, some even higher. Click rates should be between 5 and 20%. Conversion rates should be between 3 and 15%. And your revenue per recipient should be $3 minimum here. Now, in terms of the actual flow structure here, the first email that we're going to send is just going to be delivering the offer that people opted in for and sharing the brand story. I just audited an account and they had a time delay for this. You should never have a time delay. If someone submits something, send it to them as soon as humanly possible. It was ridiculous, and it was a pretty large brand. So step 1 is that. Step 2 is social proof and customer testimonials. So again, what we're trying to do here is warm up a new customer, show them some social proof, and just build that credibility, build that trust with people. Step 3 is educating people about your categories or about your products or about certain things that they might be looking for. This should be about 24 hours later. The fourth email should be top sellers and UGC. This is where you're highlighting some of the top sellers or some of the top categories that you sell, and then also highlighting some UGC, maybe features of people using those products as well. And then finally, number 5, and this, we don't need to stop here, but usually this is going to be a really good jumping off point, is an incentive or incentive urgency. Now, usually you're going to have that offer in email 1, and then you're going to probably want to trickle that through as a reminder in the rest of the emails as well. But those are kind of the topics you're really going to want to focus on. Now, an advanced tactic here, if you are using a zero-party data pop-up, which I would highly recommend, then you can create separate branches based off of those different answers that people are giving, and also based off of different product categories. This can go a really long way to just make things feel way more personalized without having to personalize every single email. Email flow number 2 is the browse abandonment. Now, this is kind of like a softer follow-up after someone has gone to a certain product page, but didn't add to cart and didn't initiate checkout, and obviously didn't purchase. Now, it's really important here to consider people's level of intent. They aren't as interested as someone who is added to cart, and they aren't as interested as someone who has initiated checkout. What we recommend doing here is just using this flow as a bit of a softer touch point. So the flow structure here could be number 1, a simple reminder. Usually we're going to split test different send times here. So it might be 30 minutes versus an hour versus 2 hours. Number 2 is going to be a product benefit and or related products based off of the category of the product that they were looking at. Number 3 is going to be education and social proof. So this is going to go out another 24 hours later. And then number 4 is going to be an incentive. So we want to see if hey, if we haven't got these people interested based off of just a simple reminder and showing them similar products and that type of thing, maybe it's a pricing related thing. Maybe they'd be interested with an incentive. But again, let's hold on to that margin until the last possible moment here. An advanced tactic that you can use here is create separate branches, again, based on product category viewed, purchase intent signals, zero-party data collected, and then engagement depth as well. Now, if you are looking at certain product categories, for example, this could be really beneficial for supplement brands, for example, right? So if you have a supplement brand and you've got protein and you've got mass builders and you've got weight loss and you've got lean muscle and you've got, a variety of other things, you might want to create different segments or different flow funnels or branches based off of those different things, right? Because the benefits that people are looking for from a product, if it's mass gainer, are going to be way different than someone who's looking to lose weight, right? You're going to want different language. You're probably going to want different imagery and all of that as well. Now, the third email flow that we're going to implement here is the abandoned cart flow. Now, this is a key sequence in basically just capturing those people who added to cart but didn't hit the checkout page and didn't purchase. So the abandoned cart flow is really important. Now, usually, if you have a Shopify store, your abandoned checkout flow is going to perform better than the abandoned cart flow. However, some themes have their cart fire in a different spot. And if you're using WooCommerce, same deal. So oftentimes what we've seen with WooCommerce stores is the added to cart or the abandoned cart flow actually outperforms the abandoned checkout flow. So keep that in mind when you're building this out as well. Really what we want to do here is just capture intent from users who are really close to their purchase. We want to address those objections. They've obviously shown some degree of preference in terms of what they want, but something is holding them back. And like I said, this can be one of your highest performing flows as well. So in terms of email flow structure, the first email is just going to be a simple reminder with the dynamic product image from their cart. This is usually going to go out about 30 to 60 minutes after abandonment. Again, we test this out to see and find the optimal send delay. Number 2 is going to be the benefits and social proof. So again, people are hitting this point. There's going to be different objections that people have. This is one of the core objections. It's handling your trust objection. The third is just addressing other common objections. So you might want to level that up and maybe you focus on some PR, or maybe there's other objections that people have based off of your brand. Like, hey, maybe do I think this is going to work for me? Or why, if it's skincare, I don't think it's going to work for me because of XYZ. Or, we actually had a client who they sell basically like frozen food. And one of the biggest objections that people had was like, well, is it going to arrive frozen or is it going to arrive thawed out? Handling that objection and letting people know what to expect there will go a long way. The fourth email is offering an incentive. This is if needed and if it's on brand for you. This is going to be another 24, 48 hours later. And you'll see here, we're waiting to give away that margin until the fourth email. The fifth email is going to be building upon that. So this is going to be building urgency with maybe it's inventory or seasonal or scarcity messaging here. Now, this could be anywhere from like 1, 2, or 3 days, depending on the size of your average order value. Higher AOV means longer time to purchase, which means you should space this out a little bit longer as well. Now, the fourth flow here is the abandoned checkout flow. Now, this is often, like I said, number 1 or number 2 here, and it is super important to actually handle people's objections here. They have basically made it to a foot before the finish line, and for whatever reason, they haven't purchased yet. So the most common mistake that I see here is people just focusing straight up on the price objection or just on like some random objection that is not really relevant. What we want to focus on here is addressing people's objections. Again, very similar to the abandoned cart. It's going to be a little bit further along here, and it's going to follow a very similar flow structure. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but basically it's like simple reminder, benefits and social proof, addressing those common objections, incentive offer, urgency message, and then we actually add a customer support check-in as well. This could be a customer support, it could be a founder checking in, just to add an additional touch and see if there's something that's holding them back. Now, if these emails are performing really well, we will actually build this out further. So we'll add email 7, 8, 9, 10 with further offer testing and further messaging testing to see how long we can pull this off for. As a general rule of thumb, if you're getting above a 1% purchase rate, keep this thing rolling. Now, the flow number 5 is the post-purchase thank you flow. Now, this is a flow that so many brands just completely neglect. It's usually something like, hey, thanks for your order, go follow us on social. That sucks. It doesn't do anything, and it is just kind of irrelevant. What we want to do is create a flow that strengthens trust, reduces customer support queries, and also sets us up for future purchases. How do we do that? Well, a well-structured post-purchase flow is more than just an order of confirmation. It actually builds a relationship. So first things we want to do is reduce the where is my order inquiry. So if you can, be proactive about communicating the order status and what the customer should expect. Number two is just reinforce the value that they just made, or the purchase decision that they just made, by reinforcing the value that you provide. So what we want to do here is, again, showcase some testimonials, showcase what people can expect in 3, 5, 7 days, however long it will take until they receive it. Show them what to expect and decrease their buyer's remorse and increase their excitement. Third piece here is just establishing a really solid post-purchase experience will go a very long way to improving the potential of you having a larger LTV. Fourth is capturing reviews in UGC. This is going to be down the line a little bit. This is going to be 2-3 weeks after the purchase, depending on when they actually receive it. This is huge. We want to make sure people have actually received the product before we're asking them for a review. And then finally, looking at cross sells or upsells. Now, you can do this a little bit earlier on if that's on brand for you, or you can do this after someone's purchased and tried out the product. So there's a lot of different things we can do here, but again, most brands just completely neglect it. So in terms of the actual flow here, email number one should be order confirmation. This might be separate than your post-purchase thank you flow, because you should be getting one of these, or customers should be getting one of these through Shopify or WooCommerce if you're using WooCommerce. The second email is going to be confirmation of when it's going to be shipped out and education. The third is going to be product care and usage tips. So this is going to be 1 day after that delivery. So it's like, hey, here's what you can expect. Here's how to use it. Here's how to get the most out of your product. This is especially important if you have a product that people can screw up using. If you have a product, if you have skincare, if you have supplements, if you have something that people can screw up, they will. At the end of the day, you cannot trust that people will follow your instructions that are in your little pamphlet. You want to give them any possible opportunity to not fuck this up. Email number 4 here is going to be a check-in and a support offer. So, hey, do you need any help with anything? How are you doing? How are you enjoying the product? And then finally, based off of that, you're going to have email 5, which is going to be a review request. And then again, if this is on brand for you, and if you don't have a post-purchase upsell immediately after someone's purchase, then looking at implementing a post-purchase upsell afterwards, right? So having it 14 days after, maybe they've tried it for a week or 2, they've seen some results. Hey, here's another product that would work really well, or here's some pants that would pair really well with the sweater you just bought. That type of thing. Another flow here you can look at is the life cycle and replenishment flow. Now, these are going to be basically automated follow-ups with people based off of their consumption cycles. And what we want to do here is just maximize repeat purchasers. In terms of some product timing cycles, usually what we're going to want to do for skincare is 25 to 35 days. Supplements is going to be 20 to 30 days. Food and beverage is going to be 14 to 21 days. Again, kind of depending on like their order value and what we're selling. And then apparel might be 45 to 60 days. In terms of like an implementation strategy, it's not quite as cut and dry as some of the other flows, but what we want to look at is track their last order date. And we want to look at variant specific consumptions. If people can purchase a 90-day supply or a 30-day supply, it doesn't really make sense to reach out to them at 25 days if they purchased a 90-day supply. It's just going to be silly. People could be like, yo, I didn't take 3 times the recommended dosage or whatever. And then multi-stage follow-up. So send reminders at 75%, 90%, and 100% of expected usage time. And then finally, personalize that experience. We want to make sure that people feel like this is actually an outreach for them and it's actually beneficial for them. They will be much more receptive to actually purchase if they feel like it's personalized. Okay, so beyond those initial flows, what I did promise you was that I'd share some advanced tactics here. So here's some of those advanced tactics. So beyond the basics, beyond setting up those flows, how I just mentioned, you can leverage behavioral data to make more sophisticated flows. Now, here's some examples that most brands completely overlook. One is browse abandonment by category. So target users with content specific to the product categories that they've viewed, not just generic reminders. Number 2 is price sensitivity triggers. So identify users who have viewed items with a discount affinity and then create segmented offers based off of that price point behavior. And then 3 would be back in stock with priority access. So this is an easy one. If you sell out frequently of something, just give previous browsers a opportunity to opt into a wish list or opt into a let me know when this is available list, and give those people exclusive access when those items are actually restocked. Okay, so I know that's a lot to go through. If you don't want to implement this all yourself, this is literally all I and my team do day in and day out. We help 7- and 8-figure e-commerce brands generate more revenue and more profit through email marketing marketing and retention strategies. Now, this is just flows. There's also all of our campaign strategies and all of our pop-up strategies and all of the other things that go into email. So if you do want to offboard this, if you don't have the brain space or brain capacity, or you just don't want to learn email yourself, go ahead, click the link below. There should be a link to book in a time to chat with us, and hope to chat with you soon. Thanks so much for watching and have a great day.